Listen, my friend, if they don't need it, don't give any more. Your care deserves to be given to someone who appreciates it. There's a simple truth, though not everyone is willing to face it. Not every relationship is worth holding on to, especially when you're the only one still staying, still hoping, still trying. A woman at the edge of maturity no longer craves a love that's dramatic or fiery, like it was in her 20s. What she needs is to feel valued, seen, and needed naturally. But sadly, there are times she ends up feeling like a burden, simply because she was too sincere. We often grow up believing that if we were just a little better, cared a little more, endured a little longer, the relationship would warm up again, would change, would go back to the way it once was. But life doesn't run on the emotions of just one person. The other may grow used to your presence, but no longer need you. They may accept your care, but never return it. And slowly, you begin to feel small, lost in the very relationship you've been nurturing. Am I just being too sensitive? You ask yourself. But then in the quiet moments, you realize it's not weakness. You're just trying to hold on to something that's already slipped away. What exhausts you isn't loving too much. It's loving the wrong person at the wrong time. And the pain doesn't always come from something obvious. Sometimes it comes from silence, from indifference, the quietest yet most devastating way for love to die. What wounds a woman the most isn't blatant betrayal. It's the feeling of becoming invisible in a relationship that once felt warm and alive. She doesn't realize it right away. No one wakes up one morning and says to themselves, I'm being abandoned. It happens slowly, quietly, subtly, without leaving obvious marks. One day, your message goes unanswered longer than it used to. One day, you share a story and their eyes no longer light up with interest. One day, you reach out for a hug and notice their arms no longer hold you as tightly. And then, those one-day moments keep happening until you finally understand you're the only one left holding on to the relationship. Women don't give up easily, especially when they've chosen to love with maturity and kindness. They don't explode, interrogate, or slam doors like in the movies. Instead, they go quiet. They observe. They begin to wonder where they went wrong, what they didn't do well enough. Some blame themselves. Some try even harder, thinking that if they just love a little more, give a little more, things will return to how they were. But love isn't a math equation. It's not about balancing effort. The further one person pulls away, the closer the other moves in, and the gap only widens. Indifference, once it takes root, is like rotting a tree's roots, unseen at first, but slowly draining all life from it. The pain of a grown woman is that she keeps loving, keeps caring, even when deep down she knows she's no longer cherished. She tells herself, he's just tired. It's work stress. It's just a phase. And so she waits for a sign from him, for the sunshine after the storm. But the more she waits, the wearier she becomes. The more she hopes, the deeper the hurt. This is the kind of pain that doesn't scream or bleed. It quietly drains her trust, her self-worth, her very ability to feel, until one day she realizes love is only beautiful when it's mutual. If only one person is left holding on, that's no longer love, it's torment. A woman's awakening doesn't come from a sudden shock or a loud argument. It comes from moments when she feels lost in the very relationship she once called home. From realizing that she's the only one fighting to preserve something the other no longer even tries to keep. When you constantly find yourself asking, do I still matter? Would he even notice if I disappeared? That's when you know you're standing too close to the line between love and self-destruction. There comes a point in every woman's life when she stops searching for flowery words or fleeting romantic gestures. What she longs for is safety, a presence that feels real, someone to share her joy with, someone to lean on in sadness. Simple questions like, have you eaten? Was today hard? Let me know when you get home. These little things, when they come from the one she loves, become her anchor. But when that care fades away for too long, she begins to learn how to do everything alone. First reluctantly, then willingly. That's when she starts pulling away. A woman in love doesn't keep score. She'll wake up early to cook breakfast, stay up late waiting for a text, rearrange her schedule, just make time for him, and ask for nothing in return but understanding. But if that devotion is taken for granted, if her quiet sacrifices are treated as obligations, she will stop, not because she no longer loves him, but because she has started to love herself more. That is the most painful transformation for a mature woman, choosing to rescue herself from a relationship that's slowly draining her. And her strength doesn't come from raising her voice in goodbye, but from choosing silence. No tears, no drama. Just one day, she stops texting first. She stops waiting. She stops making an effort. She lets the relationship drift into the place where he had already put it. Unimportant, unprioritized, unworthy. She doesn't need to hear the words, "It's over," because she felt the ending long ago, and she walks away with her dignity intact. Because in the end, a wise woman understands. Love should never be begged for. It is a mutual exchange. And if you constantly have to fight to hold on to someone, you've already lost them. It's strange how, after letting go, a woman doesn't immediately feel relief. Instead, she enters a prolonged silence, a space with no one left to wait for, no message to hope for, no reason to check her phone every night before sleep. That emptiness at first can make her want to go back, to ask one last time, are we really over? But then she understands. If someone truly needed her, they would never have let her drift this far. Their silence is the clearest answer. Painful but honest. Women, after being hurt, don't fall apart the way people expect. They withdraw. They grow quieter, more cautious. They stop sharing the details of their life. They stop giving all of themselves to others. But that doesn't mean they've become cold. It simply means they're learning to love themselves more, something they have forgotten to do. They begin caring for themselves in small, tender ways. A morning coffee made just for themselves, a half-finished book finally reopened, a short trip to rediscover what it feels like to live for themselves, not for anyone else. A woman's strength doesn't lie in always smiling when everything falls apart. It lies in the courage to face the wreckage, to accept the heartbreak as part of her journey. She doesn't deny that she once loved, once hurt, once made mistakes. But she also won't allow herself to make the same mistake again. That's when she begins to rebuild her boundaries. Quietly but firmly. She's no longer the one who's always there when others need her. She becomes the one who listens to her own needs, who chooses wisely who deserves her time and care. And one day, she will feel grateful for pain, because it taught her this. Her heart is not a temporary shelter for those just passing through. She no longer feels regret or shame, because she knows she once loved truly, deeply, wholeheartedly. She simply loved the wrong person, and that is nothing to be ashamed of. It's a costly lesson, yes, but one that makes her wiser, more grounded, and more aware than ever of her worth. In the end, after enough time in silence and enough distance to reflect, a woman comes to understand this. Walking away is not a failure. It's a form of growth. Growth means realizing that giving more doesn't always mean receiving more. That not everyone deserves your devotion and sincerity. That not every relationship is worth fighting for until the end. Sometimes, letting go is the right thing to do. And sometimes, the tighter you hold on to someone, the more you lose yourself. She begins to see everything through a different lens. No more blame, no more regret. The other person is no longer a source of pain, no longer a shadow that haunts her at night, just a road once traveled, where she once loved, once made mistakes, and once had the courage to stop walking. She no longer tries to explain the silences, the coldness, the neglect, because she now understands more clearly than ever. Silence and indifference are never the language of true love. And then she starts to live differently, not loudly, not showily, but radiantly in her own way. She can go to the movies alone, sit in her favorite cafe alone, travel, work, care for herself without feeling lonely, because she has filled the emptiness with a deeper understanding of who she is. She no longer chases validation from others. She knows her worth. She knows her warmth deserves to be given to the right person in the right place at the right time, not handed out unconditionally just to keep someone from leaving. And naturally, she begins to attract others, not because of beauty or because she tries to please, but because of the quiet strength of someone who's been broken, stood back up, and learned how to love herself. That's when she realizes she doesn't need anyone to make her whole. She already is, from the moment she chose to walk away in silence, instead of staying in a love that was hollow. In the end, she no longer wishes for a perfect partner. She only hopes that if someone new comes along, they will recognize her passion and treat it as the treasure it is, because she once gave it to the wrong person and lost herself. She won't give it away easily now, but when she trusts again, she will give with her whole heart. And if that love is honored, it will be a beautiful beginning. But if it's not, she'll walk away again. This time without pain, just peacefully closing one door to open others, where there is light, understanding, and a love built by two hands holding on together. Some lessons only come after real pain. And in love, not everyone is lucky enough to always love the right person at the right time in the right way. But that's exactly why every wound we've endured, every moment of disappointment, every sleepless night, every silent tear is shaping us into a stronger, sharper version of ourselves. A version that knows our worth more than ever. A woman who walks away from a relationship that no longer holds love is no longer the same woman she once was. She's crossed a quiet but powerful threshold of growth. You don't always have to be tough. You don't have to pretend you're okay when inside you're unraveling. True strength doesn't come from hiding your emotions, but from facing them. From accepting that, yes, you once made a mistake. You once loved the wrong person. You once placed your hopes in the wrong hands. But after all that, you stood up, you kept walking. You found your own way forward. And that is the most powerful thing of all. This world is vast, and there are still so many people you will meet on the road ahead. No one knows what waits at the next turn. But here's something you should believe. You deserve a love that doesn't make you question your worth every single day. A love that doesn't leave you waiting and guessing. That doesn't drain you quietly while you convince yourself. One day he'll understand. The right person will recognize your value from the start. They'll hold your hand not out of obligation or comfort, but out of a genuine desire to stay. So if today you are pulling back your warmth from someone who no longer appreciates it, do it quietly, with grace, with dignity. You don't need to teach them the weight of what they've lost. You only need to protect the best parts of yourself for someone more deserving. Someone who won't let you do all the work, who won't make you feel like a burden, who will never make you ask, do I still matter? Because love in its truest form was never meant to be a lonely journey. And you deserve a love that is whole, certain, and mutual, not forced, not half-hearted, not something you're the only one fighting to hold on to. This piece is a powerful reminder for every mature woman. Don't hold on to a relationship where you are no longer valued. Your care, your sincerity, your warmth, these are precious gifts, but they should only be given to someone who truly deserves them. When love starts to feel like a burden, when you're the only one making an effort that is no longer love, it's an unnecessary sacrifice. Walking away isn't failure. It's the way you protect your heart and your dignity. Women must learn to love themselves first, so that if someone comes along one day, they don't have to fill a void. They simply step into a life that's already whole. This piece doesn't promote pessimism. It inspires a conscious kind of love. A love where you know who you are and what you truly deserve. Thank you for staying with me until the very last line. If you've ever found yourself in a relationship where you had to carry the weight alone, if you've ever had to learn how to let go in silence, I invite you to share your story in the comments. Somewhere out there, someone may find comfort in your experience. And if you're still navigating pain that hasn't found a name yet, don't be afraid to open up. I and everyone here are ready to listen. No judgment, no rush, just presence and empathy. If this piece resonated with you, don't forget to leave a and follow the channel. It gives me the encouragement to keep sharing more stories of healing, awareness, and strength, especially for the hearts that have been hurt, but never stop being brave. You are not alone. Thank you, truly,